Welcome to Confidence Rockstar podcast, a place where you will find inspiration, motivation, and, let's say, kick in the bottom to take action and create the life of your dreams. I'm your host, Alex Grzybek, and I'll help you quiet that little voice inside your head saying, "You can't do this." So you have the courage to go for what you've always wanted on your terms. Every week, I'll bring you some confidence golden nuggets, present an awesome interview in order to empower you to step up your game. It's time to choose happy and shine. It's time to become a confidence rockstar. Let's dive deep. Hi everyone, welcome to the next episode of Confidence Rockstar podcast. I'm Alex Grzybek, your host, and today I have a wonderful guest joining me all the way down from London, UK, Kasia Richter. Let me quickly introduce Kasia to you. Kasia is an international human resource and cross-cultural communication specialist with over 10 years of international experience. Owner of consulting agency, deals with culture. She supports entrepreneurs and managers in creating a better quality of life by implementing well-being solutions. She's an author of the Life After Flying Career Transition Guide. And she has much more actually to share with us today when it comes to her career, but I don't want to tell you everything in this introduction. I'm sure she will tell us much more during our interview, because today actually with Kasia, we will be talking about from cabin crew to CEO, Chief Executive Officer. So how to build a career around your passion. So Kasia, thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you for the lovely invitation. And I'm so happy to be here and having this opportunity to share my story and my learnings.
Yes, exactly. Talking about your story, I really, when I heard your story, I really wanted to invite you here. And it's actually interesting because we first got introduced to each other in terms of career in recruitment, because you have very, very extensive experience when it comes to recruitment. And we actually recorded some live trainings for people in Polish. However, I know that you've changed your career as well and transitioned, and what you are doing, all these well-being solutions and everything that you do now resonates with me so much. So that's why I really want to I cannot wait to speak with you, much longer today. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. What have you been doing in your previous life and before you started doing what you are doing right now?
Well, I guess I can say I've been doing a lot of things. If I think about it, I'm struck myself because on a daily basis, obviously, you don't reflect so much. But I have been a cabin crew. I have been a model. I have been working as a receptionist, as a director, as a yoga teacher, as a recruiter. So it's been quite an experience, and I think it was all shaping its way towards basically being an entrepreneur. And this is what I am today. I've been running my company, Deal with Culture, for the past 5 years. And before that, I had a short episode of being a digital nomad, because I love freedom, and that's why I've been in aviation for 10 years, because it gave me a lot of freedom of movement. I was traveling all the time, and I still wanted to do it, but on my own terms. So the digital nomadism was my pathway towards building my own company. And that's why I love digital products, because it's a way of maintaining this freedom of sharing knowledge with people. Oh yeah, I've been also a teacher, academic teacher. So when you are working as a teacher, you're pretty much stuck in one place. even if it's a part-time thing, but you have a schedule, you have certain dates that you have to be there, so you don't have like a total freedom. And the beauty of the online world right now is that we can share our knowledge packets, make our own courses, make our own content, and create a source of income out of it. So basically, from cabin crew to CEO was a very obvious choice for me. Although I mean, today I can say so. However, it took over 5 years to complete such transition, because in between I've been a recruiter, because I loved I'm a psychologist, and I always loved talking to people and finding out what makes people tick, and how do they behave, especially across different cultures. So I've been always curious about it, and becoming a recruiter was like a very natural thing to do. So from becoming a recruiter, the next step was basically entrepreneurship. So on my way, I just learned that you really have to follow your heart and listen to your inner voice, and be just stay on the path, following what you hear. Because if you're trying to follow somebody else's reasoning, or somebody else's voice, then you ultimately will not be happy. So that's the story.
Oh my God, thank you so much for sharing that. And it's been like, so many things what you said. And actually it proves the point that the times when somebody got a profession and you had this profession for the rest of your life, they are gone. Yes, we can change. Like, you're a perfect example of the person who could change the career many times, and like doing completely things that they kind of seem, they have nothing to do with each other actually. So you needed to rebrand yourself, you needed to learn like new things, and of course you were also working in like international environment. But and I also love the fact that you said that on the journey to entrepreneurship and to creating your business, you need to listen to your heart and follow your heart and follow through, and like your own reasoning. So tell us, like, what happened, or when it happened, that you actually decided, what, I actually don't want to work for anybody else anymore. I would like to be my own boss.
It's been a process, and it's been quite gradual, right? So I've been primarily employee, working abroad on a contracts for the big airlines like Emirates, Etihad, Gulf Air, all of them in the Middle East. So that was a very specific type of employment. I was an employee, but I had a contract, so it had its own rules and regulations. And obviously, being a cabin crew, being in aviation, it always gave me opportunity to travel. So I loved it. And from there, what I was missing, it's kind of might be a little bit strange for some, but I was in my 20s. I was traveling around the world. I was living in a beautiful accommodation with a swimming pool and gym, and all the glamorous benefits of being a young adult in Dubai. I was traveling a world on a constant basis, sleeping in the best hotels and visiting the fancy restaurants, and it was great. But you know what? At that time, I didn't have my degree completed. I was studying psychology in Warsaw, and when I got the job in Dubai, I said, like, okay, I'm gonna stop the studies. So I took a break, and then I didn't finish the studies for another couple of years. So all the time at the back of my mind, I was thinking like, okay, I'm not complete. People are not taking me serious because I didn't have my degree. So, it was a complex for me for many years. So I said, like, so what, that I'm earning money? I was earning at that time more money than the professors in my private university did. But when you have like an internal complex, no reasoning will really work until you get to the core of it and work it out, obviously. So at that time, I was like, okay, I have to finish the study. And And I did. And also that coincided with the fact that, I've been working for quite like, I think 7 years altogether for 3 different airlines. And the last airline where I was a cabin crew was Etihad. And in Etihad, what happened? I got a little bit upset and I guess partially burned down when my upgrade was taken back. Like, imagine, there are the grades of on board, and I was promoted to be the chief of the cabin, or like a purser, right, the head of the entire team on board. And then the company said like, oh, actually, looking at the numbers, we have enough of people in that position. Sorry, Kasia, it's not valid anymore. Try next time in 6 years. So I got really upset, and there were some few other issues at that time. So I was thinking, you know what? Screw you! I'm gonna become a yoga teacher, and I did. So I became a yoga teacher. I've done my certification. At that time, I was living in Bahrain. So I started working as a yoga teacher in Bahrain. I also managed to finish the studies during that time. And as soon as I finished the studies, there was opportunity coming up in Qatar Airways because they were looking for a recruiter. And I was like, wow, being a crew and being a yoga teacher, it's all great. I have all this freedom. But you know what? I miss working with my head. I don't feel complete. I really want to use, my education now. So, so I got the job in Qatar Airways, and I worked there as a recruiter, and I really, really loved it because it combined the aviation, the ability to travel. I was traveling to very exotic places like Bali, for example, like Korea, like Taiwan, like Africa, Zimbabwe and Tanzania, and all weird places, and doing recruitment there. So that was a real experience of really working, for a very brief period of time. But like, imagine you have to organize a recruitment campaign in like Zimbabwe or in Egypt or in Korea. So it's really like a hands-on experience, multicultural experience. So I absolutely loved it. And the reason why I resigned from that job was a burnout. I had a boss. Who was a woman, and she basically brought me to tears. And she was, using her position to bully me. As my manager, she could do it. And basically my position of a cabin crew recruiter was taken away. I was supposed to get like an upgrade, for the pilot's recruitment. And I started doing the job. But I didn't enjoy it, and I was like, not traveling so much. I was more in the office in Doha, and a lot of privileges were taken away from me, like ability to just travel freely. I don't know how it is now, but at that time, Qatar Airways had a similar regulations to Saudi Arabia. So, for example, if you wanted to leave the country for a weekend, you need to obtain exit permit, right? So, you had to, and in the company structure, that meant that I had to obtain the signatures of, I think, 2 or 3 of my managers or seniors. And, the head of the department of recruitment was hardly ever even in Doha. So it was basically very, very hard to even get out. So I start feeling like you're in a prison, and I'm thinking, is it worth it? Is it what I want, and there was a lot of office politics, and the boss that was bullying me, I was like, no, this is not worth it. I'm out of here. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I cannot, like, my mental health is more important than this. So that was my my story with Qatar Airways. And after that, I took a break. I was doing a lot of yoga. I was teaching a bit of yoga, and I was like thinking, well, what am I gonna do? And then, the trend of digital nomadism was there. Like, people started doing the working, creating their own brands and sharing knowledge in form of the info products. And I was totally, charmed by this concept. So I started learning. I was taking courses in personal branding. I was just like, so hungry for knowledge in that field, like e-marketing. I was just like constantly studying that. And I was doing like a part-time projects. I mean, obviously I found a job. I went back to recruitment, and at that time I was back in Poland, in Gdańsk, and the company, I found like a transportation company in Gdańsk that I was working with, and just helping them, to recruit people. And they wanted me permanently. They wanted to give me like a permanent job. And I said like, no, just
Not
give
what
me
I want.
that's not what I want. Just give me the civil contract, umowa zlecenie, because I didn't want to be tied up. I could never imagine myself being tied up. So at that point, I really knew the entrepreneurship is the only way I can function. And it made sense because, you see, I was always like interested in many things. And when you are supposed to be an employee, and when you are supposed to be like a specialist, this is not what people want out of you. People just want you to be a good behaving, person who fulfills, the orders. And that was definitely not me. So at that point, I knew that basically I have to be self-employed, and that's it. So I went in that direction. So before I started my company, I was doing like a lot of training. I was just investing all my money in training and doing the courses. And I was doing like part-time jobs. So basically, a bit of recruitment, a bit of teaching, collaborating with universities, collaborating with press. I started writing articles about cross-cultural communication. Then I was doing some trainings on that. And that, slowly got me into starting my company. And I deal with culture, yes, because that was my first product, cross-cultural communication trainings. And when I started that 5 years ago in Poland, still in Poland, it was a little bit of a foreign topic, a little bit like, what is she talking about? There's no differences, we're all the same. And but now the market is very much different. Especially in the last few years, the amount of foreigners on a Polish market, and also Polish people traveling and opening companies in other countries and just collaborating has increased tremendously. So people start realizing, because that's the thing with learning. If you have the unconscious incompetence, you don't know the things that you don't know. And once you start doing something like collaborating with other countries, you will actually see like, wow, shit, there are differences, right? What to do now? So yeah. So that was my first product, and then it shifted again into recruitment, into employer branding, into different aspects of HR, and alongside, I've picked up the knowledge on social media. So sometimes I help companies with certain aspects of PR or social media, and obviously now I'm combining all my experience with dealing and managing people, communicating with people, and yoga. So using a lot of these tools, and I'm dealing with well-being, right? So yeah, that's my story.
I can see that, your story is like that. Technically, as we said, like you've been doing a lot of things that technically for the outsider had nothing to do with each other. Actually, right now, you can combine them together and you can pick up a little bit from everything. And this is your experience. This is your hands-on experience.
Yeah.
And that's why you are so efficient in what you do. Yes. So tell us, because when I was listening to your story, it is like that sometimes in life we experience burnout. Sometimes in life somebody bullies us. Sometimes in life we get promoted and then it is taken away from us, or different things happen alongside on our career. And one thing is like what happens, but then like what we do about it. Are we going to play like a role of a victim and why this is all happening to me, poor me, or we are going to actually take like our hands and take our life in our own hands and create something different? Like you said, well, I'm leaving, I'm gonna be a yoga teacher. So what would you say to people who are considering, because many of my clients, many people that are listening, they do have dreams, they do have desires, they do have goals even, but they are so afraid of doing even this very, very first step towards their business, towards their dreams. And I mean, what would you say, like from your experience, how to actually take this very first step?
Yeah. I guess that it all comes down to the fact of knowing that fear is a very, very bad advisor. Okay, so don't listen to your fear, and don't listen to yourself when the fear is speaking. Right, this is really important, because you see, our brain is designed in a way to protect us, to keep us safe, therefore keep us small. So if you are safe in the job, even though you hate it, your the biggest and the oldest part of the brain, the reptile brain, is there just to keep you secure, to keep you alive. That's the main objective. So whenever you're thinking, oh, maybe I will change the job, or maybe I will try this, or maybe I will change a career, the brain's saying like, no, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And it comes in a form of doubts, of the fear of saying like, oh, I'm not good enough, I don't know what's going to happen, oh, the market is difficult, I cannot find a job, right? So and you know what, majority of those things are not even true. Not even majority, 90%, they are not even true. Because if you really verify it, if you verify the truth, and I hear it, from people, they are saying like, oh, I cannot find a job because there's no jobs in my city. I'm like, you're living in like a 1 million people city, other companies are relocating there, opening up centers, and you're trying to tell me there's no job. With this attitude, obviously nobody wants you. That's the problem. So we are our own, by the way we think, we are becoming our own enemy and our biggest obstacle into getting what we want. So I would say, for job seekers and for anyone who wants to become an entrepreneur, you cannot doubt yourself. There's no room for that. And I remember recently I've heard somebody asked Elon Musk, what would you advise to somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur but has doubts? And his reply was very straightforward. It's like, if you have doubts, forget it. You can never be an entrepreneur. Cannot. So it all comes down to confidence. And this internal knowing that whatever happens, you will make it. You will sort yourself out. You will survive one way or the other, but you're gonna make it. And if you have so many doubts, it's going to be extremely difficult for you. So first thing is to really start working, with your limiting beliefs, build up your confidence, build up your resilience, because obviously it's not about what cards you get in life, but like how you play with them. It all comes down to that.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I very often like share this thing about the brain, that the brain wants to keep us stuck. to keep us safe. Otherwise, we are going to die. And yes, you are absolutely right. Like you need to start working with your mindset. Yes, and like removing those limiting beliefs, because like, come on, let's be honest. Like everybody has doubts. Yes, everybody has fears. But like what you do with it, this is what matters. Yes, and how you approach life. So as the subject like of this, the title of this podcast is confidence rockstar, you are saying that we need to start with improving our confidence. Do you have like any tips, I don't know, one or two that you can actually share with the listeners, what has helped you or is helping you now to build your confidence muscle?
Yeah, one thing, and it's super simple, and it doesn't require any engaging your head actually. So it's your body posture, and this is what yoga has helped me, because when we do yoga, we do a lot of heart opening, chest opening, things. So we naturally see. I'm not so super great example even, but if when you practice, you just open up and you create this nice straight posture. So whenever you approach a job interview or a meeting or anything, and you just open up your chest, and there are different techniques in yoga. What you do, there's like a camel posture, there is the wheel, but they're a little bit more advanced. But the simple thing that you can do even before the meeting, and I'm going to show it to you now, is you interlace your fingers, okay, just like that behind, and you pull them down. So when you pull your hands down, your chest, you see what happens? It opens, you rotate your shoulders, you're up, right? So you give yourself a nice stretch, and then you approach the certain situation. So the body posture is really crucial, because also the body and mind are connected, and when you need more confidence, you make your body confident first, and then your brain will follow. So just open up your chest, do the simple stretch, and that will change the way you speak, the way you modulate your voice, and you will be more convincing to others. You will be appearing as a person with more confidence. So there you go. It's so simple, you see.
Yes, I love it. It's so true as well. Like, the body posture makes a difference, and actually you can change it like instantly. Yes, it doesn't require any, I don't know, techniques or any studying, deep studying. You can change it immediately. And yes, when we think about it, actually, when you think about a person who is depressed, you automatically picture this person with the round shoulders, like head down, avoiding eye contact, but the person which is like chest forward and keeping like the eye contact and with a big smile on their face, it's completely different signal to others. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. All right, lovely. Kasia, tell us a little bit more about like how you how and why you do what you are doing now. I mean, like everything connected with the well-being, like avoiding burnout. I mean, what does the well-being mean to you, and why do you think it's important nowadays on the current marketplace?
It is important. Okay, what is well-being? Well-being is like a balance between the challenges in life that everybody has, right? Or problems, or whatever you choose to name it, the things that happen to you and that you have to deal with, and the resources you have to address those problems. So if, let's say, you lose a job, so this is a problem. And then, so this is on one side of the scale, and on the other one, so it's dragging, it's dragging you down, those problems. So if you don't have confidence, skills and willingness and motivation to find another job, if you don't have the skills required for the job, you will be there's no balance, right? So that's why well-being is the art of basically balancing act. And this is the example of a person who lost a job, and a lot of managers, people I work with, they already have the job, but there are always some obstacles, there's always something. So, you might have a job, but, the job also comes with certain things that stress you out, certain obstacles, some certain challenges. And again, if people, a lot of managers or people who run companies, they face issues, let's say, with employees, with managing people, with mediating between them. There are conflicts. There are usually a lot of things from my experience, where when I work with my clients, they come to basically people management. So people don't know how to communicate efficiently with each other in the company. People don't know how to support themselves, and then because of simple things like that, it rises up and it stresses people, and then they develop like health problems, and then it increases the absenteeism, and they go on sick leave, and it's a ripple effect. So basically it's constant work because you just need to make sure that you have enough resources. So in situation, let's say if you're like a stressed out manager, and you have so many things on your head, and a lot of responsibilities, you really need stress management skills. If you don't have that, your life is going to be very, very hard. So there's always, all different type of skills. So that's why I always, recommend. I mean, in my case, it was yoga that when I was working for companies, and I was getting stressed, it was my savior, that really helped me to be sane. And I'm not saying everybody has to do yoga, but if you have certain passion, it might be tennis or dancing or running, really, really, slot the time as if it's a priority, because it is for your mental health. Once you don't have your mental health, you cannot do anything. Simple as that.
Thank you so much for sharing it. I agree. It's very often, and you kind of gave like different examples, but basically it all comes down to that we all face challenges, we all have problems, we will always something will come out or come up. And if we do not know how, one thing is like that something happens, but how we deal with it is like another story. And we constantly, for example, work, push hard, and we kind of forget what work and life balance is, and we neglect our health. Sooner or later, our health will knock and will say, excuse me, I'm here. Well, actually, I'm not here anymore. Yes. I'm going to make you sick now because you need to rest. You don't listen to me when I tell you to rest. You need to rest right now. So it's very important to keep managing this energy and like the mental and physical, emotional health, as you said. Otherwise, we are not going to drive for a very, very long time.
No. I'm so glad you've mentioned that, managing the energy and keeping our own batteries running. And the longer you will ignore that you're a human being and that you have to recharge your batteries, the harder your lack of health is going to hit you.
Exactly. And sometimes in the least expected moment, yes. And
usually it's the worst moment.
Exactly. Most of the time it works this way, that you're actually like at the edge and it's like, that's it. Yes, this is the last thing you want, but actually this is the first thing you need at this moment, and that's how it happens. Alrighty. Okay, Kasia, so thank you so much for joining us today. It was like a pleasure to listen to you and like hearing your amazing story and how you created the life on your terms. So just kind of last question I would like to have for you here. So if you can give, I don't know, advice or a tip or some kind of golden nugget for the listeners, how to create the life and the business you love on your terms, what would you say?
Just like I mentioned at the beginning, follow your inner voice, because you know internally, what's right for you, what are your talents, because when you observe yourself, okay, you're interested in one thing but not in the other. So you basically know. So be true to yourself and don't allow anyone to tell you this or that, because as you know, there are a lot of examples of people that they hate, I don't know, law, or they hate IT, but they go and they study just to please their parents, right? And then they drop it, or they drop out, or they never work in that field anyway. So that's the biggest proof. Or people just become lawyers or specialized in certain fields, but they are so frustrated, they hate it, and then the midlife crisis hits them, and then they change their life suddenly, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't have to wait until you have a midlife crisis or health crisis. So it's really tuning in and listening to your inner voice. And if you want to have like a roadmap and the whole guideline of like what to do step by step in terms of creating the career in a more tangible way, I've described it in the book not Deal with Culture, Life After Flying, right? So it's available on my website, dealwithculture.com. So you're welcome to get a copy and see the proper steps. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, Kasia, thank you so much once again. All the links to like Kasia's website, Kasia's social media, and how to contact with Kasia, they will be in the show notes to this episode. So you will be able like to contact with her. She's amazing. You know what she does, and like the her work is very needed in this current world, especially right now in this current climate when nobody knows what's gonna happen, and the level of anxiety and stress and fear is really, really huge. So yes, please connect with Kasia if whatever she shares with you resonated with you. And so Kasia, thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, it's been a pleasure. And yes, wishing you all the best in your company and in your life. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex, for the lovely invitation, and all the best to you as well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
To get started on your confidence journey, I invite you to grab free 5-day email course, Confidence Rockstar. You will get 5 daily lessons sent directly to your mailbox, so you will have access to them anytime you like. You can grab this gift on the website alexgrzybek.com/5 days. All of the links to this episode you will find in the show notes below. And one more thing. I want to invite you to my personal website, alexgrzybek.com, where you'll find other podcast episodes and more of the free resources to help you on your confidence journey. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next episode.